Okay.
And it's time for one of the most hyped up sports podcasts, Sports Bros. I'm your host, Logan Chesney. Along with me is Justin Peck. How's it going, Justin?
It's going pretty well. How are you doing, Logan?
I'm doing wonderful. It's been a busy week for me, as it sounds like you've had a busy week. But it looks like we have a lot to talk about since our last show was what, 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now.
About that.
Yeah, fortunately, we live busy lives now. Now that both of our careers or our how should I put it, our hobbies are almost into full swing. Yours definitely into full swing.
Yeah.
So, but before we get on with our show, like always, we're gonna do our week to week. So, Justin, since our last show, it's been like I said, 2 weeks. How's it been?
It's been good. The last couple weeks, we just started our football season, so that's been chaotic to say the least. Uh, Thankful that you and your son were able to meet us at Green Bay and come watch our season opener, along with bringing some of your friends that were Green Bay locals. It was a great time. Going out to dinner with you guys and meeting them, uh, to say the least. I didn't think the world could handle more of us, but I found out there are.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't tell you everything about my life.
but there was no straight faces and no short of laughter that entire night.
You definitely had a good time.
Yeah, needless to say, I think we embarrassed my parents a little bit, but
Oh well.
that's expected, and I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, and we took you to the Hall of Fame at Lambeau Field because you've never been to Green Bay in general. So
Yep, that was a very well educated tour, and needless to say, that was I was kind of in my element when we got to a couple different parts of those, and I kind of just went off.
that I kind of expected you to do that. Honestly, I was not surprised. But you actually got to see a Lombardi Trophy up close and personal. You got to see an NFC North Trophy up close and personal. So
Yeah, that was special, fun, real exciting. Glad I was able to get away for a few hours and enjoy some time uh, with you guys and around Lambeau Field. That was truly a great experience, and wouldn't trade it for the world.
So I don't know if you actually noticed that I believe it was the 2010 Super Bowl ring that was sitting in that case. Did you see whose ring that was?
I did. I don't think I saw who's. I don't think I saw the name of it. No.
That was Aaron Rodgers' ring. So his ring is sitting in the Hall of Fame at Lambeau Field instead of at home on a shelf.
Wow.
So those are actual rings there. So yeah, those. It was a great time. It was definitely. I was glad I got to see you before the game on Sunday. I had a blast, like always. I mean, I've told you several times. It don't matter when I go to Green Bay. I pretty much have a fun time. It does not blow my mind away when I go there and don't want to leave.
Yeah, it's like you said during our post game. Green Bay is like a second home to you, so I'm glad you were able to come. And like you said, there's no shortage of a good time when you visit.
Oh yeah. So my week's been kind of hectic with work and everything. We've been working shorthanded, so I really haven't done a lot in my life, really, other than work my ass off. Other than starting to get ready for racing season. Like we were talking before the show started, I was literally in the process of buying parts for our junior dragster. Rather, it's extra parts so we have them for the season or parts that we actually need. And spent an arm and a leg on two belts. I didn't realize how much shit went up in fucking inflation with racing parts apparently. So it's definitely interesting, but other than that, I pretty much laid low just like you've been laying low. So with that being said, I mean, we got a lot to talk about. I'm pretty sure you have a busy schedule after this. I know I do. So let's get into it.
Great. Up first, we have uh, new rules have been uh, shared with ideas for Major League Baseball. Um, they want to change the pitch clock uh, from the current 19-second. They want to change the pitch clock to a 14-second pitch clock when the bases are empty, and then when there is a runner on base, they want to experiment with a 19-second pitch clock. Uh, Currently, the rules are a 15 and a 17-second pitch clock that is being experimented in the minors. Um, this is obviously something that has been going on for quite a while as far as pitch clock rules. Um, Roughly, the average minor league game it averages about 2 hours and 45 minutes. That is down 3 minutes from games that were not played with a pitch clock. Um, Now, you wouldn't think that that's much of a difference, but in the world of baseball and as far as fans being interested in the game, that is a significant drop. Um, they are implementing these rules simply for the fact that fans have said baseball is too slow pace of a game and they're getting less interested. So they wanted to implement this pitch clock so they could try to move a little bit faster and get more action going.
Well, the fans aren't
Uh,
wrong.
no, they're not. Uh, but as I've been around the game of baseball for a long time, I do agree that there are certain points in the game where it is very dull and boring and, needless to say, almost unwatchable.
Right.
But I do also know that anything can happen within a second that can change anything and everything about the game that's being played that day. Another rule that they implemented was changing the size of the bases.
What, to make
They
them
would.
bigger?
They are working on I believe it's 2 inches larger for bases than the current ones.
Jeez. Yeah, I think they're big enough. I really don't think they need bigger bases.
Yeah, I don't see why they want one. Larger bases would shorten the distance in the baselines. You might not think it's going to be significant, but in the world of Major League Baseball, every inch does matter.
Yeah.
Um, Major League Baseball experimented with 18-inch bases at first base, second, and third in the AAA season last year, which was that would be a 3-inch uh, difference from the current 15-inch standard bases that everyone is using currently.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I get that they want to make rule changes to make the game more um, watchable for the fans, rather in the stands or at home watching on TV. But to want to change the size of the bases, I really don't agree with that. I mean, if they were going to change them to where they thought, well, they're too big, we need to make them smaller, well, maybe you'd have my support. But to change them to make them bigger than what they already are, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of making the bases larger either. It's like they're large enough as it is, and coming from a groundskeeper, uh, there's a lot of places that have specific storage spaces for those bases to keep them safe and locked up, and they've gone by the size of the bases. So if you make the bases any larger, they're going to have to reevaluate where they're storing those bases or make their storage unit larger.
Well,
And
yeah.
that's tough enough already as it is when you have a major league baseball club grounds tunnel that doesn't have a whole lot of room anyways, and you have to store all of your equipment down there.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the commissioner of the MLB probably doesn't care about that at all.
No, he all he cares about is a paycheck.
Yeah. So.
We've
Anyway.
seen that from the collective bargaining agreements between the Baseball Association and the Players Association over the last, what was it, 90 to 100 days before they were finally able to reach an agreement.
Yep.
Uh, so we can actually have a baseball season this year. Uh, so finally, we can have opening day here in about a week and a half.
Really.
The integrity of the game is in his hands, and he hasn't done a very good job of keeping it.
Yeah. No. But at least speaking of that, at least they were able to come to an agreement and come to a opening day date.
Yes, opening day is set for April 7th. Currently, spring training games have already started playing this past week, and so fans are able to get to watch some baseball down in the Cactus and the Florida leagues.
So have you watched any of them on TV, or are they even televising these games?
Some of them have been televised, but I am not able to get some of the games based on my location and who's playing.
Right.
I've been able to see like a couple highlight clips on Sports Center, but other than that, I haven't been able to watch. But with everything coming to an agreement, players were actually able to make moves and owners were able to make trades since that is not allowed during the collective bargaining agreement.
Right.
So we've had some pretty big names on the block over the last couple weeks. One of them being uh, one of the best characters in baseball coming out of Atlanta. Freddie Freeman. He is no longer a Brave. He is now in Los Angeles to be part of the Dodgers organization. He has signed a 6-year, $162 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Nice.
And all of that is guaranteed.
That's good. I mean, it's big, but it's good for him.
He will earn an annual average salary of $27 million
Jeez.
in this coming year. That's his base salary. I'm like, $27 million. You are paying for a wonderful human being in general, let alone one of the greatest first baseman characters of the game. Like, he is one of those people that will, he's a character of the game because even when you're playing, he's playing the game, he'll stop by and interact with fans, talk to fans while he's walking to his spot on the field.
Right.
When he's in the on deck circle, he's a calm, chill dude. Nothing affects him. He'll give a fist bump or a high five or take a picture with a fan while he's on the on deck circle.
Heck yeah. Yeah, and it looks like the Cubs got a contract signed with someone too.
Yes, another player coming from the Japan League, Seiya Suzuki. He is now signed with the Cubs, and his contract, believe it or not, is larger than when Ichiro signed into the league.
Wow.
Seiya Suzuki is the highest paid Japanese player to come into Major League Baseball. He will be making his deal is $99.625 million.
Wow.
Making it the largest deal given to a Japanese position player in history and the 5th largest contract ever handed out by the Chicago Cubs. So breaking it down over the next 5 years, in 2022 he's making $7 million. Next year it's $17 million. In 2024 it's $20 million. 25 is $18 million. And 2026 is $18 million. And he received a $5 million signing bonus, and he has a full no trade clause in his contract.
Wow. So that means he's going to want to stay with the Cubs then.
He is in contract to stay with the Cubs until 2026, unless he says otherwise. He is a guaranteed Cub until the season 2026 concludes.
That's insane. That is insane. Almost sounds like somebody's contract that I know about that just signed with an NFL team.
And who might that be?
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers did sign a contract extension over the next 3 years with the Green Bay Packers, and he's expected to earn $150.8 million in that time.
And that's all guaranteed money, if I remember right. Because his total contract payout is like $200 million.
Jeez, oh Pete. That's nuts.
Oh. Yeah, that's extremely nuts. Especially since what's going on with the NFL right now is apparently teams can just afford to throw money at whoever they want, whenever they want, because you wouldn't have a contract like Rodgers, you wouldn't have a contract like Brady's, you just wouldn't. So, am I surprised that he signed with Green Bay? No. Or extended with Green Bay? No. Is he worth the $200 million? Hell no. So, like, obviously they're willing to pay him what he wants just to keep him. And I say that as a fucking shareholder, and I really don't think we should have been paying him that.
He's set to earn a base salary of $26.47 million in this year alone, with the salary cap of this year basically being double that, of $46.664 million. So he's getting half of the salary cap.
Yeah.
He will earn $42 million this year with his extensions, $59.515 million next year, almost $50 million in 2024.
It's just insane.
So, and this dude is 41 years old.
Yeah.
After the next 3 years, he will be 41 years old.
Yeah. And with that being said, he'll be 41 years old. I believe the number is right around 35 years. The Green Bay Packers would have only had 2 quarterbacks in the last 35 years when this extension is up.
That is unheard of.
So it's. I mean, I get it. I really do. Why fix something if it isn't broke? But it's just insane how much money it's costing the organization to keep one player.
Yeah, you're overpaying him by a lot.
Yeah, nobody deserves that kind of money at all. Nobody.
You are giving up half of your salary cap on one player.
Yep.
And basically the other half to a wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, who's the wide receiver?
Oh. At least that's what I.
Because I know it ain't Adams. He ain't there no more.
Oh, okay. So that's who it was last year. Those two were the biggest salary cap hits last year.
Yeah, Adams got traded. He's no longer with Green Bay.
You have his signing deals?
I do not. I don't even remember who he went to. I think Chicago.
Well, Chicago's got money to spend. That's for sure, because they got rid of Khalil Mack.
Yep.
Which that was kind of shocking to me. But there is a quarterback on the move.
Yeah, there is. But speaking, before we go on... Oh, why is... Never mind. Go on.
The Seattle Seahawks are trading Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos for 3 players and draft picks.
Well, Broncos came out on top of that trade.
Yeah. You are giving up one player to get possibly 5 or 6.
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos have just became a Super Bowl contending quarterback.
Pretty much.
They just became a Super Bowl contending team by acquiring this quarterback.
Yep. And on top of it, Russell Wilson asked what was his chances of being traded, so he obviously didn't want to stay with the Seahawks any longer, and he got what he wanted. So it's kind of interesting that he decided that he didn't want to stay with the team that got him a Super Bowl a few years back and not try and stick it out. So
right.
It is. I mean, I'm a Seahawks fan, in general, not just because of him, but that's going to hurt that organization a lot
Oh,
to
definitely.
lose their quarterback like that.
It'd be interesting to see how this season turns out with Seattle, which now they might try and settle for a quarterback in the draft,
Yeah,
which I didn't think many teams, if not any teams, would try to get a quarterback in the draft this year because there's not a whole lot of options this year.
no, there isn't.
So I'm curious to see what happens come draft day, for that matter.
Yeah, I am too. It's definitely going to be interesting.
But speaking of quarterbacks, Tampa Bay doesn't have to draft a quarterback this year.
They don't even have to look for one.
Nope. Tom Brady announced he's coming back.
Yup. Yay.
And it's like, how many times did we say this in previous broadcasts and episodes? Like, I don't see it lasting long, and I'm just waiting for the announcement to him to come back because he doesn't deal with retirement.
Yep. And it took all of what?
40 days.
Yep. 3 weeks
40
roughly.
days.
Yeah. That's a little ridiculous. But
His tweet says, "These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa Bay. Unfinished business. LFG."
yeah, I definitely do not agree with that.
You have nothing more to prove.
Nope.
Go be a scout. Go be a coach, player development. Shoot. Go be a quarterbacks coach where you can develop the QBs that are being drafted into the league.
Yeah. Like, help out with what you've developed. Don't take and come back just because, well, one, the NFC in general is complete garbage right now. So, the only high end player in the NFC that is really high up there is Aaron Rodgers because he decided to stay instead of retire himself. So, that only left Aaron Rodgers in the NFC. So, I can kind of. It doesn't surprise me he came back, but it surprises me he came back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I understand what you're saying there.
it's one of those things like it took him 40 days to decide, so it doesn't surprise me that he came back. If it would have taken any longer, it really would have actually surprised me that he came back. But he's back, and that's all that I guess matters. I mean, I guess Stafford didn't really end the GOAT's career just yet. Tom Brady has yet to beat Stafford in LA, so I mean there is that.
And here's another thing too. His last touchdown ball that was thrown sold for I think over $50 million at auction. How
Yeah,
stupid does that guy feel?
I know, right? It would be funny though if Tom Brady didn't throw a single touchdown pass this entire upcoming season, though.
Yeah, and if that is actually his last touchdown pass and he didn't throw a single one all year long, this dude will be sweating all year long throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
Hoping and praying that still lasts. But yet, Tom also announced on Twitter, once he announced his coming back, he asked if they could give that guy something for his loss of wages, so to speak. I'll call it wages because $50 million is a shit ton of money.
Well, yeah. But honestly, if I was Tom Brady, I wouldn't have done that. Just for the simple fact, the guy just spent $50 million on a football. He obviously could afford to lose that $50 million.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that furniture guy who bet on all the major sports and basically lost every single one of them.
Yeah. Yep. And speaking of Stafford, he got a contract extension with the Rams.
He did.
I didn't see the details of it, but I'm pretty sure it's nice after winning a Super Bowl.
He is finalizing a 4-year deal worth 160 million.
Sounds about right for him. I would definitely um, spend that on him.
Yeah. After everything he's accomplished, I do agree that he's worth that much money, but not Aaron Rodgers.
No. So.
And yet, I'm kind of curious to know how much he's making off these endorsement deals from AT&T.
Yeah, I would too. That is definitely something I'm curious about.
If you haven't seen it already, there's 2 AT&T commercials that are my favorites now. And it's the one that Matthew Stafford's in, and we'll get to him here in a bit, but Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke. Both of those have AT&T TV commercials, but Matthew Stafford by far has been my favorite in itself. And if you haven't seen it and you're a Lions fan, you have to go watch it because it explains a lot, and it's funny as hell.
Yeah, it is.
With Stafford's $160 million contract, there's only $25 million of that is not guaranteed money.
Nope.
He's guaranteed $135 million.
And he's has made a lot of money in his career too.
Yes, he has.
I was trying to see if I could find how much he made off of that commercial. I didn't find the exact amount, but it brought me to the Forbes website, which ranks the top like 100 people on what they're worth. He is number 36. He is worth $59.5 million, and that's with his salary / winnings. And he has made an endorsement of $2 million. And that was in 2018. So can you imagine what he's worth now?
Probably twice, if not 3 times as much.
Yep.
What I kind of like about this deal, too, is that it's more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers' deal is $150 million.
Oh, that's guaranteed money.
Oh, what's that?
Aaron Rodgers, the $150 million is guaranteed money.
Right. But even though 135 of Stafford's contract is guaranteed, the rest of the 25 million, I guarantee that it's all going to be guaranteed money, even though it says 135 mil guaranteed.
Right. Well, he ain't going to go anywhere.
No, he's going to keep all that. He's going to earn it all on top of his endorsement deals. I'm guessing he's probably the highest paid quarterback in the league right now.
Oh, easily.
And well deserved, because he deserves it, and he's reasonable for it. And reasonable isn't even he's more deserving than any of the other quarterbacks in the league, regardless of age or talent wise. Yeah. Now Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are coming close.
Yep.
But the other two oldies, just hang it up, go away.
Well, yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't have been heartbroken if Aaron Rodgers would have retired.
No, me neither.
I mean, he
Get
did
the Young Bucks involved.
he did what he needed to do in Green Bay. He left. He has a tremendous legacy in Green Bay, and I honestly, I he has nothing to prove there unless if he's trying to bring home another Super Bowl for Green Bay.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have been heartbroken if he would have retired. I don't think a lot of Green Bay Packers fans would have been heartbroken if he would have retired too. So,
Dude, I think most of the fan base wants him to call it quits.
yes and no. I'm pretty sure there's a good portion of the fan base that wouldn't want to see him retire, but I think that it's almost probably 50-50 with him only because of what he brings to Green Bay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, shoot, for when Stafford was with the Lions, there was some of us were like, okay, we've had Stafford for 12 years, and we've had so many quarterbacks as backups and third strings that we don't know how they look like.
yeah.
When are we going to get to see our new talent that we're going to have?
Yep.
And I kind of feel like that's the same way in Green Bay. You've had Aaron Rodgers for so long that you can't keep a backup anywhere because he'll never see the field.
Well, no. So, I mean, unfortunately, when it comes to Detroit, I think our backups will probably very rarely see the field with Jared Goff in town. I am very excited to see what happens this upcoming season with the moves that they have made and some of the contract signings that they have made, but that's for another conversation at another day.
Yeah.
So, with that, I mean we're in March now.
It's March.
It's
That
March
means college
Madness.
basketball.
That means March Madness.
And boy, has it been madness.
Well, I do know this much. Unless if they're using a different bracket program, there is not a perfect bracket this season. They were bust in the first round, almost all of them.
Yeah, I think there was only one perfect bracket heading into the last game of the round of 32, and that was busted,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken, based on what I read, I think a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But as usual, every year there's been upsets, which we all love to see. There's been heartbreaks, which we hate to see,
Mm-hmm.
based on our favorite teams and how we want them to do. But it's part of the game and it's part of March Madness. Anything can happen. And everybody knows this. Every team knows this. You have a chance to win no matter who you play.
Yeah. Yep. I will say on my bracket for the South region, I was pretty proud of myself for the first round on only missing one team being wrong on one team in the South.
And I did not fill out a bracket this year for two reasons. One, I've been busy with this team.
Mm-hmm.
And when Selection Sunday came around, I was on the road. Two, I'm not predicting anything this year based on the bracket that was sent out by the committee. Because I'm like, I'm just gonna throw it away after this one if I think I know what's gonna happen.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Well, exactly what did happen. My bracket would have been busted after the first round.
Oh. Yeah, mine's not. The two teams I have going to the finals are still in. So I'm not fully busted yet, and I don't think I will be. I'm not worried for my bracket until probably the final four. So, but if you had to guess, who do you think's gonna make final four?
Uh, Dude, I don't have a bracket in front of me, but I'm gonna probably guess Gonzaga's gonna be one of them. I Villanova might be another. It's possible that Purdue could be another Final Four candidate based on how they've been playing.
Let's see here. Gonzaga. Where's Purdue? Yeah, Purdue and Gonzaga could make it. That would be the Final Four for that would be Gonzaga versus Purdue. Who else did you say?
Villanova.
Villanova.
I
Yep.
know they beat Michigan on Thursday.
Yeah. So I will agree to disagree with you on that one. Just gonna throw that out there.
I I don't want Villanova to beat Michigan either.
I don't think they will. Out of the Final Four I have picked, only one of my picks were wrong, and they lost in the round of 32.
Who are your Final Four picks?
Gonzaga versus UCLA and Michigan versus whoever, because I had Auburn making it to the Final Four and they lost. So
That would have been a good pick. They just didn't play good basketball.
yep. And I have Michigan versus Gonzaga in the finals. Michigan winning 56-55.
Ooh, very close game.
Yep.
I will say Michigan is one of the 5 teams in the last probably 5 years that have made consecutive Sweet 16 runs.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Michigan State for a little bit. Before they were exited from the tournament, in the Big Ten tournament, Michigan State coach Tom Izzo has become the winningest head coach of all time in the Big Ten. He reached 663 career wins in the Big Ten Conference after they beat Maryland in the regular season finale. He surpassed Bob Knight, who had a 662 win record over a 29-year career span at Indiana. Izzo, who is only in his 27th season in Michigan State. So he was able to break Bob Knight's record 2 years shy of 29 years. During his tenure, the Spartans have won a national championship, have been to 8 Final Fours, and have won 4 outright Big Ten titles. Tom Izzo has been a great coach for Michigan State basketball.
Yeah, he definitely has been.
He will definitely earn his spot in the Hall of Fame, and I cannot wait to see what he does next.
Right.
The game to see in this year's tournament was just that. Michigan State versus Duke to appear in the Sweet 16. And no two teams have met more in the NCAA tournament than Michigan State and Duke.
Right. Yeah, they definitely have the most face-offs in the NCAA tournament, I do believe.
They will play. They played each other for the 17th time, and Duke has a series lead over the Spartans with a 13-3. No, they met for the 16th time. Excuse me. And Duke leads the series 13-3 all time in that meeting. Now, however, in the NCAA tournament, Duke has only won four out of the 6 matchups. So, yes, it's a 500 record for Michigan State, but I'll take the 500 record over a 13-3 record.
Right.
And with Coach K's career ending this year, it was a good fit for him to get past Michigan State to reach the Sweet 16.
Oh, I totally agree. I think in this instance, yeah, it would have been nice to see another Big Ten team moving on. I think Coach K really deserves that win with this. After this season, he's calling it quits and retiring.
Yes. Now, with that being said, prior to the Michigan State-Duke matchup, Coach Krzyzewski had 1,199 career wins. 98 of those were in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
After that win, his win against Michigan State to advance to the Sweet 16 is his 1,200th career win. 99th in the NCAA tournament overall.
Yeah.
He's already a Hall of Fame coach, but to have that solid number for career wins,
yeah,
is a stamp.
That speaks a lot for him as a coach, and it speaks a lot for how the organization and the team buys into his culture that he brings to that school.
Yes, absolutely. A quote from Mike Krzyzewski on the Michigan State and Duke basketball game. We have two of the best programs in sport, not just in basketball. We have it because of the values and the standards, the principles that he evokes, and we do too. And it started with Judd Heathcote. I mean, Michigan State is the creme de la creme, and we are too. There's not one. When you are that, you have ultimate respect for the guy leading the other group.
Right.
Their former players are like our former players. They feel like they are part of a family. When you have that continuity, then those players come back and there's family on both sides. Not many programs, hardly any programs, have that. They do, and we do too. That quote from Coach K basically says everything you need to know about the history of both programs.
Yep.
And the coaches and players, and how much respect they have for each other. And I want to credit that as an example to what you told me a couple of years ago. When you were playing soccer back in Manistee in high school, you had a friend of yours that was playing for Ludington.
Yep.
When it's game day, you hate each other and you want to break each other's ankles. You want to do everything you can to get that win.
Yep.
On the field. But off the field is when it's family, love, and brotherhood.
Yep.
Coach Krzyzewski basically just said that about Michigan State.
Yeah. Yep. It's one of those things where you when you're on the field, you're there to do a job. Rather, it doesn't matter if it's college, high school, rec team, professional. You're there to do a job. And when you are out there, you create these bonds, these friendships, this brotherhood with players from other teams that, yeah, you may have a friend on the other team, but when it comes down to it, even in high school, you are there to make the school money. I hate to say that. You are there to make them money. So you got to do whatever it takes to bring in that money. And when you're not on that field, that doesn't matter anymore. So it goes the same with Duke and Michigan State. That the simple fact of the matter is both teams have the same aspect of the culture that the coaches bring into their program and that the players buy into, that they understand each other extremely well. And it's great to see two teams being able to have that kind of bond between each other and know the fact of the matter that when we're out on that court, it's go time, it's game time, it's time for me to do work. But once that final whistle blows, that horn goes off, that all goes away, and it's high fives, giving each other hugs, and congratulating the team that won at the end of the day.
Yeah. Tom Izzo joked about this afterwards. He said that I've got to be his favorite coach because he's beating us like a drum. Now, Izzo, there was a time when that could have made him angry,
Right.
but he sees it in the proper context that it is meant to be said in. And he goes on to say that the wins that he has against us, it's been earned. It's not been given. And when Izzo gives credit, he truly means it. And he knows how hard it is to beat teams like Duke.
Right.
He prepares for it, and he prepares for the guys to play the best basketball they can be. And watching that game, that is the best played basketball game that I have seen Michigan State play all year long. That game didn't have a lead go beyond 8 points, I don't think. And if it did, it wasn't for very long. That was a nail-biter game that everyone loves to see in the tournament.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
And I'm almost willing to guarantee that after that game was over, both coaches, when they were done with their respective teams, went out and had a beer with each other and joked all night long.
Oh, I would probably almost guarantee that.
The amount of respect for coaches have with each other is unsurpassed, and it's one thing to be on the court. It's another thing to have friendships. And in the world of sports and coaching, you have your friends, you have your mentors, you have those coaches that you've looked up to. Because when you're a coach, you also inspire other people to be coaches. You don't become a coach just because you want to coach. Someone inspires you to become a coach of a specific sport.
Right.
So you have those friends, you have those relationships, and guaranteed those two have had quite a few different conversations along their careers of like, hey, do you have any coaching recommendations that I could get for my staff?
Well, yeah. Yep, I definitely can agree with you on that.
Since it is March, there's another madness going around. The Frozen Four Division I men's ice hockey tournament has begun. And I have pulled up the bracket for that. And it is quite the tournament this year, rather than in previous years. Michigan, no surprise, but very well deserved, has been given the number 1 overall seed with a record of 29-9-1.
Heck yeah.
So there are the 4 divisions, or the 4 places that they will be playing: Albany, New York, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Loveland, Colorado, and Worcester, Massachusetts. Those seeds are as followed. In Albany, you have Minnesota State at number 1, North Dakota at number 2, Notre Dame at number 3, and Harvard at number 4. In Allentown, Michigan at number 1, Quinnipiac at number 2, St. Cloud State at number 3, and American International at number 4. In Loveland, you have Denver with 1, Minnesota Duluth at 2, Michigan Tech at 3, University of Massachusetts Lowell at 4. And in Worcester, you have Western Michigan at number 1, Minnesota at number 2, Massachusetts at number 3, and Northeastern at number 4. Out of those 12 teams, I recognize 90% of them.
Yeah.
They are the high pinnacles of college hockey, where most of the draft picks come from.
Yep. Well, I'm hoping for Western Michigan to win. I'm hoping for Michigan to win. And I'm hoping for Michigan Tech to win. I'd love to see a semifinal with all 3 of those in it. Not even gonna lie.
I'm with you there. I'd like to see the semifinals at TD Garden be, what is it? Notre Dame versus Western Michigan, and Michigan Tech versus Michigan.
Yeah.
And to the semifinals, it actually would be kind of fitting to see Notre Dame and Michigan play for the national championship, considering they're from the Big Ten.
Right. About time we'd have a Big Ten, all Big Ten final. Fuck football and the SEC.
Yeah, the ice hockey tournament starts on Friday, March 20, or no,
Logan
starts on
Centerville
Thursday,
opening
excuse
weekend.
me, March 24th. And the first 2 rounds will be Thursday and Friday, with Saturday being the regional finals. And then everything will move to April 7th in Boston at TD Garden for the semifinals and championship matchup.
Nice. Yeah, unfortunately, it won't get the same TV time as the NCAA tournament.
Everything is being broadcasted on ESPNU and ESPN2.
Okay.
So if the only game that's not being nationally televised that I think I can watch is the one that's on ESPN News. Everything else I think everybody gets. ESPN2 and ESPNU. I'm excited for this tournament more than anything.
Yeah.
This is a great tournament to watch if you follow college hockey.
Yeah.
And most of these players that are on these teams have already been drafted. Now it's time to see what they can do.
Yep. It's their time to shine, to show the teams that drafted them why they drafted them. So. But with that in mind, it's been one heck of a day for me. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I do have a busy schedule today, unfortunately. So if you have nothing else, I don't.
What did you think about the game in Green Bay? Describe it. How your first IFL game? What did you think?
What did I? I walked out of there not sure if I wanted to watch more IFL or NFL because of how action packed it was. To be honest with you, I remember looking at my son and I went, I don't know which one I like more now. Do I like NFL or do I like indoor arena football?
Well, I'm not sure if you happened to watch our our last game this past Sunday.
I got to see the tail ending of it.
Well, you saw a lot of the good stuff, I would say, because in the last two quarters there was nothing short of action.
Yeah.
We were down, I want to say, at one point 17 or 18 points, and we were able to knock it down to two within a 5-minute span.
Yeah. And then to have it heartbreaking when you go for a field goal and have it blocked.
Yeah. But with that being said, when do you see a 17-point deficit in any sport disappear in 5 minutes?
It's very rare. Very rare.
I don't see it in the NFL.
Nope.
Basketball, yes, because we see it in the tournament.
Yep.
NBA is a joke.
Yep.
But yeah, the average time of possession in the NFL, I want to say, is a good 7 to 8 minutes, if not a little bit more. College, probably about the same. I'd have to get the actual statistics of it, but it's a good 8 to 9 minutes of possession, depending on how your school offense runs. The average IFL is about a minute and a half time of possession per sequence.
Right.
Good job, John.
I love this sport.
I can tell.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really hope you can come out to another game, whether it's flying out to here in Bismarck or heading over to Iowa or Illinois to watch us.
Right.
I always do have tickets, so you do have our schedule. And for any of our fans that tune in and listen, hit us up here at Sports Bros Podcast, and we can hook you up with some game day tickets as well. We're always happy to have a few giveaways.
Oh, heck yeah. So, and like we said in previous podcasts, the upcoming NFL season will have our first annual Sports Bros Fantasy Football League. So, as always, be on the lookout for that. So, I guess that is it, folks. Like always, have a break and have a sport.